mean, does it feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania now?
Somehow, some way, in some impressive fashion, both nights of WrestleMania 41 managed to be better than just one night of WrestleMania 42. We get John Cena coming out in a suit because he's the host of WrestleMania, as we all know. And then, we get LA Knight pulling up in a Ram. And then the Ram is just, because of the partnership with WWE and, all that stuff. And then we get the Vision and Speed over here with the Ronaldo inspired 7. I really like Logan Paul's attire here, and then Austin Theory looking like he's a Dune character. And then we get this match that's about 6 minutes, and Speed has kick pads with dad running shoes apparently. But I was excited for Speed to wrestle because that's always been something that I've kind of wanted to see because of his athleticism, and I used to follow him, and I used to be subscribed to him and stuff like that. Something strange was that I've never thought I'd hear, I never thought I'd see Speed at in a WWE ring doing a backflip, but that was actually kind of surreal to see. But then we get LA Knight, and playing around with ISO Speed and all that garbage, and then this match only lasted about 6 minutes. So, after that happened, I think it was LA Knight who pinned Austin Theory or Logan Paul or something like that to win the match because of ISO Speed's distraction or whatever. But yeah, probably one of the worst looking 1Ds, to end the match or whatever. And then Speed was saved by the Usos and LA Knight. But we got Speed doing a frog splash or the speed splash to Logan Paul through the table, and then they had this stupid yeet thing. So yeah, so after we get a content creator, pretty much, which is I show Speed. Not only Speed doesn't watch the product, he doesn't know who anyone is. He constantly asks who's that, who's that, who's that. He's just there. He's just there to be a character or whatever, but I've never really been down. I can never really jive with someone who's just there in the wrestling space just because they're popular or famous or whatever. But then when they see someone like a Liv Morgan or somebody like that, they're like, "Oh, who's that?" Or if they see somebody like a Jacob Fatu, "Who's that?" Like that's just irritating. If you don't know it, get the hell out. It's just it's dude, it triggers me so much because I don't know, and then and then the whole Speed is yeeting thing. I'm like, bro, you first of all, the yeeting was probably the worst part of the shows. Now, not for the marks in the audience because they're the same people who pay $11,000 to make pasta with a wrestler. They're the same people who pay $10,000 to be on Cody's bus. They're the same people who spend damn near $9,000 to just hang out with the Undertaker. They're the same people who spend $10,000 to $20,000 to take pictures with the female wrestlers and the male wrestlers, and they don't even interact with them. They just take one picture and go. So, their opinions don't really matter in the arenas because they'll chant, "This is awesome" for a match that started 30 seconds ago. They'll chant, "This is awesome" to a heel that does a backflip because the heels nowadays focus on work rate instead of character work. So, as far as the, audiences yeeting and everything, that doesn't matter. The people at home matter. So, to see a 20,000 hour yeet session with Speed, and it's worse. It's worse to see it. It's worse to see it. And run it back. Just on Raw, but to see Speed, it really solidified how bad this WrestleMania was going to be. It's just like, wow, this is it. Like, wow. This is our WrestleMania. I show Speed yeeting after he takes out Logan Paul. This is just, I don't know, bro. This is yeah, so then Stephen A. Smith gets booed out of the building, and he basks in it. And then we get Jacob Fatu, and probably one of his best attires. It was a camouflage tactical vest, and one of the pant legs, I think it was his right one, had the camouflage, and it looked amazing. And then we get Drew McIntyre coming out with so much aura. but just to lose. Takes someone's phone and films himself beating up on Jacob, bored at work thing, and then Drew McIntyre loses. But the crazy thing is, dude loses after being put through a table apparently. But the crazy thing is like the dude, him and Jacob Fatu both fell like 20 something feet or whatever, in kayfabe. They fell so far into the bottomless pit, and then they crawled out, but their heated rivalry kept them going, next week to see each other on SmackDown. Drew McIntyre, T-boned Jacob Fatu and pulled him out the windshield, but then a Slim Jim table, defeated Drew McIntyre. It was kind of crazy. So Drew McIntyre gets done dirty again, but we already knew the result because Jacob Fatu said, "Well, if I lose, just go ahead and fire me. Just I'm gone, release me or whatever." Bro, the fact that we have like this is not WrestleMania, bro. We have speed yeeting in our opening match. Speed yeeting, bro. This is crazy. I just like the discussion for match one is already over, but damn, like, dude. So anyways, as far as Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre are concerned, it was cool to see a toolbox because usually these unsanctioned matches or these street fights only have trash can lids, a table or two, and a trash can and some chairs and nothing else. They don't even leave ringside for these matches. It's just all lame, watered down, formulaic, watered down, watered down, watered down, watered down, wipe me down, cause I'm on. What just dude, these like it's just lame for WrestleMania too. Like all they do is just I don't know, bro. Like these weekly weekly so good I drink it weekly, but yeah, bro, these unsanctioned matches and street fights are nothing more but extreme rules matches with a different name. That's all it is. Like it's like a Toyota with a damn Lexus badge on it. It's the same thing but just a different coat of paint. It's like a Mazda with a Ford. Anyways, Charlotte and Alexa being the demented butterflies or the Wyatt Six butterflies or whatever, and then like I don't know, I don't know what's going on between them two, but then we get Nia Jax, Lash Legend, coming out as Demolition, and then Paige makes her debut. Well, makes her debut in this era, because according to Triple H, we have like 1,000 eras because whenever he fails at something creatively and we get and we criticize him for it, he says, well, this is a dawn of a new era, or he promises a new era, and then it gets somehow worse, but like this WrestleMania season. So yeah, Paige has returned to WWE and then went on to pin Alexa Bliss. So Alexa took the pin, which was pretty frustrating because Alexa has been done dirty for a while, but it's expected because Alexa Bliss is only there to, boost up Charlotte, and then once she's done boosting up Charlotte, Charlotte Flair is going to go on to win 1,000 more championships, because that's all they're together for in the first place. Why the reason why they're besties and all that garbage is because Charlotte Flair didn't get the reaction that they wanted, and Alexa Bliss got the biggest reaction of the women on the women's as far as the women's Royal Rumble match last year. But yeah, Paige and Brie win the titles, and then we go on to Becky and the Wonder Years, and then this guy who was like clearly lip syncing, and it looks pretty bad. Just trying to I don't know what he was trying to do, but it looked pretty bad. He was wearing a Cactus Jack shirt, and he was like a minute. He was like at least a couple seconds behind. Like he was dancing off beat to his own song that he sung, and he was clearly lip syncing. And it just looked very awkward. It looked really bad. Oh man, it looked bad. Like Becky's entrance was really hard to watch, and then we get a DoorDash commercial with with Solo Sikoa. So the dude's been around for a hot minute. They've been trying to establish him, but then they just gave up and put him on a 40 match losing streak. So now he's just talking about how hungry he is and rubbing his belly during WrestleMania because he's not on the card. And then we get this is so sad. And then we get a WrestlePalooza John Cena esque, Bianca Belair esque, kind of like it reminded me of when John Cena brought kids out to his entrance during WrestlePalooza, but then ended up being destroyed by Brock Lesnar. But yeah, I truly think, somewhere down the line we'll get Jessica Carr and Becky Lynch having something. I think that'll be cool because she is a wrestler. So well, I mean, was a wrestler. I mean, she had something on Evolve too. But then yeah, these matches are really short, like really, 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 really short. But yeah, not Paige. AJ Lee gets defeated by Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch gets the title again. Hopefully this rivalry ends, and if not, then I'll find it funny. I'll find it funny, like how the company is just like we get AJ, we get damn we get Becky and then Maxine and then Maxine and then Becky and then Becky then AJ Lee then AJ Lee then Becky then AJ. Like, why not just build new stars? They're incapable of building new stars, especially for the women, especially for this Intercontinental Championship scene. It is miserable. It's on repeat. It's unbearable, and honestly, it's really tiring to see the same. It's like it's recycled. It's like I don't even know, bro. It's ridiculous. They need to switch it up, but I know they're not going to. Why not just give people like Ivy Nile the chance or something like that? Or hell, split up the women's tag division, because all it is just single stars they don't have any plans for in tag teams that don't go anywhere, serve no purpose, and are bathroom break matches because they don't have anything else creative for them. So why not just have more women on the singles roster, have more women in singles competition going after these mid-card titles? But no, let's just keep these useless tag team championships for the women around, even though that we'll just pluck individual women who are going after world or mid-card singles gold and put them in these tag team divisions that we don't even know what to do with. Ugh. It's so annoying, bro. Oh man, the lack of creative is impressive. Truly. It's laughable. So then we get Seth Rollins versus Gunther, and then we get apparently we apparently get Ted DiBiase in the crowd, but he's just there to watch. Seth Rollins, his eyes are all black and just looking all intimidating. I'm glad that he was wearing all black because usually he dresses like I don't even know what he dresses like. I don't think he knows what he dresses like. I think that's King Joy's job to know what he dressed like. But honestly, my favorite entrance of all time as far as Seth Rollins' entrances at WrestleMania is still his WrestleMania 34 2018 New Orleans, Louisiana entrance. The Game of Thrones. That was amazing. Truly. That was my favorite Seth Rollins entrance of all time as far as, WrestleMania. So yeah, we get Seth Rollins and Gunther in a match, which was a good match, but it was a stupid match because thrown together match, useless match, still good, not rewatchable whatsoever, unless into spots for no reason. I mean, they had like 2 weeks of build out of thin air, so then after Seth Rollins is about to beat Gunther, we get Braun Breaker coming back and spearing Seth in half. But the funny part is like the way Braun ran down the stage I think this was after he had screwed over Seth and had him pass out to. Also, another thing, John Cena is the only person who I can think of who tapped out to Gunther. Everyone else is passing out. AJ passed out. I think even Seth Rollins passed out. Well, everyone's passing out, but the person who was supposed to never give up. The dude gave up and then had socks that said no, don't give up. It was never give up. It was very strange. So then Braun Breaker runs back down the stage, but he almost misses Seth. So Seth sold it anyways, but but the way he was running, that it just looked hilarious. It looked really funny. Oh man, it was hilarious, bro. It was really funny. Yeah, AJ Styles comes out with the rest of the Hall of Fame inductees and gets a huge pop too. It was great. I noticed how it said AJ instead of the P1, but it was in the same font. That was pretty interesting. And then we get Liv Morgan's entrance, which I'm not really a fan of the song. I think Liv Morgan's best song, in my opinion, was Nah Nah from 2021. I think her Watch Me extra obnoxious dubstep was pretty bad too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not the biggest fan of Trouble. Neither's the audience. It was decent as far as her entrance was concerned, though. I mean, it was okay, but like, I'm just eh. And the Stephanie Vacure, she had the stuff raining down from the from the roof or whatever. That looked really cool too. But then we get, the constant interferences and interference, and then Stephanie lost. But this match was only like 7 minutes. This wasn't even the 10-minute mark. So they kind of just were just breezing through. And then her reign ended at Stephanie's reign ended at like 210 days. Pretty underwhelming, to be honest. So then we get Bianca Belair coming back, and then she says, that she announces her pregnancy, which was amazing because I remember Bianca Belair and Love and WWE, her reality show with Montez. She was talking about how she wanted to be pregnant at the same time as her friends. So that was pretty cool to see. So they're going to be parents, which is amazing. But what's not cool and what nobody cares about is that WWE are promoting Pat McAfee for WrestleMania 43. Who cares? Bro, I swear, like, nobody cares. So then we get Pat McAfee coming out, and then Pat McAfee, is flipping off the audience and all that and telling them to F off. But then that reminds me of what Triple H said about people who don't praise every single creative decision he does. If you don't like it, go F off, or something like that, So yeah, if you don't like Travis Scott main event, if you don't like Travis Scott interfering in John Cena and Cody Rhodes' main event, yeah, you can go F off. You're not a real fan because you're not glazing everything that we do. It's because it's what we do. It's what we do. What we do is what we do. So apparently, Bobby Roode and Michael Hayes produced Randy and Cody. Man, that match was that match was really bad. Pat McAfee's doing the pose or whatever with Randy because he wants to be Randy so bad. No, he doesn't want to be Randy, but he just wants to be Timu. He wants to be Timu Rock, dude. He reminds me of Timu Rock, like and combined with a Timu Travis Scott. But just I don't know, bro. This whole Pat McAfee thing is just not going. Is not going well, and I'm glad that it ended. So then, yeah, we get Stardust, and we get all of Cody's iterations like throughout his career, and then Cody. I'm not gonna lie, his attire was sick. Cody's attire was sick tonight. So, Jelly Roll, just just having the biggest spot of the entire match. Not Randy, not Cody, but Jelly Roll having the biggest spot of the match. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, then I don't know. Like it's depressing. Like truly ruthless depression era, It's sad to see that Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee had the biggest spot, and they weren't even in the match. It was literally Cody versus Randy, but Jelly Roll and Pat McAfee have the biggest spot in the entire match. That is crazy. So then we get Randy Orton being busted open. But also another thing I found funny is that Cody Rhodes was working heel this entire match. The dude was working. He was honing out on Randy's injured back and putting him in rest holds. No face does that. And then on top of that, he was punching Randy in the head or whatever and all that stuff. And I'm just like, bro, like he's working heel, it's kind of interesting. So then we get Pat McAfee, being a clown and, playing referee or whatever, but then he gets RKO'd, which is amazing. Man, this is so hard to get through. But yeah, after that, you know, Cody Rhodes hits him with a crossroads, then wins the match, and then bro, I swear, it was like an aura vacuum. The entire arena just got quiet. I'm just kidding. They were quiet the whole night. The only time they were actually like making noises when Bianca said that she was pregnant and Cody Rhodes being punted. And that's really sad. Cody Rhodes being punted. Bro, like Cody Rhodes being punted and uh and um and Bianca Belair saying that she was pregnant saved WrestleMania. Like that's honestly kind of sad. Like the best parts of WrestleMania were a pregnancy announcement and a punt to the head. I don't know, man. But I mean, Cody won, so we won't see him so we won't see Pat McAfee apparently, you know, according to his terms in WWE again, which I hope not because he doesn't belong there in the first place. Nobody wanted him there. Nobody cares about him there, you know. So hopefully, hopefully. But then the show, but then like we get the post show, and the post show, ends off with, I'm not even lying. The post show ends off with Corey Graves and Liv Morgan twerking. Like that's what we got is Liv Morgan and Cody and Corey Graves twerking, like having a twerk off. That's how we got sent home from WrestleMania.